Now this is really what this is all about. What's good, everybody? Welcome into Primetime Early Edge, and there is nothing better than sweating the game of the day, just like we told you today at noon, the Bills and the Eagles. If you're not watching this game right now, we're going to finish it together as we get ready for Sunday Night Football, the Ravens and the Chargers. Now, the Eagles are down by 3 at home. They were down 10 at halftime. Less than 2 minutes to play. I'll kind of give you the play-by-play as we start the show, but this is as good as it gets. So, without further ado, let's bring in the stars of the show. And tonight, we have a brand new member of our Primetime Early Edge crew, and I am thrilled that she is here tonight. So Coach Phil is here. The Counselor of Cash is here. Our 5-tool player, AB, is here. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever in primetime, she is the host of Inside the Lines on this very channel, Mackenzie Brooks. Welcome to Primetime Early Edge. Good evening.
Good evening. Happy to be here, sweating out the Eagles, but ready to hang out with the boys. Let's do this.
You're darn right. You see her all over CBS Sports HQ. We were lucky to hire her before she got out of school. Unlike AB and Buckets and EC, who didn't even, you finished school. We know Buckets did.
Buckets didn't even go to school last week. He's got a lot of airtime he's got to figure out.
All right, before we get to tonight's game, we had some very interesting outcomes today. We tell you, hashtag it pays to watch live. AB, let me come to you. Steelers, Titans, Colts. You said all three were good bets today. All three won by at least 6. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and you know what? These are teams that are fighting for their lives. You know, less the Titans, more the Steelers, right? You look up there, the AFC North, I cannot wait to see how this division ends up. Obviously, we have the Ravens here tonight. They just keep moving, man. They just keep chugging along. So give them credit. That division is tough as hell to play in.
That's right. Speaking of chugging along, the Eagles are inside Buffalo territory. 58 seconds to go. 2nd and 4 from the Bills' 42. And Stephon Diggs, counselor, is still on the sidelines chirping, just chirping. What did you make of today? Because the early games were what we thought they were going to be. They kind of stunk. But the afternoon, Chiefs, looking like the Chiefs again? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, when the Chiefs were down 14-0, I wanted to make the biggest play of all time, a live play on the Chiefs. I actually hesitated because I thought they looked pretty bad. But, yeah, the Chiefs looking pretty good. I love the bounce back, but I was really focused on that 1 o'clock game. I thought the Texans-Jaguars game was really interesting. I thought the Texans were going to win that game. You know, that the field goal, you know, hitting the crossbar at the end, you know, that should have probably gone into overtime. But, you know, impressive for the Jaguars. I don't think it's a great team, but just like the Eagles, we'll see how this ends up with the Bills. They sort of find a way to manufacture wins. And so I got to give them credit where credit is due.
And I've got a blinking red light inside my queue, and it says Devontae Smith over receiving yards. Oh, did we catch that today, Mr. Najad?
We sure did. That's 2 weeks in a row on Devontae Smith. When Goddard is out, the target share goes up. It's like clock.
5 for 78. And what do you call it, Kens? A tutty? Is it a tutty? A tutty.
That would be a tutty. Did he get a tutty live right now?
No, not right now.
I was about to flip the desk.
Yeah, the chat's like, Kens is going absolutely bananas. It's okay if you have one eye or one ear on the game. We know this is your squad. Yeah, yes, 5 for 78.
Not only is this my squad, this is my Georgia Bulldogs, who are now all Eagles. So this is like the best thing ever to ever happen to me.
Best thing ever to ever happen. And not being on the Early Edge primetime, but this is the best thing to ever happen
that
to her.
Too. Yeah.
In totality, right?
That's right. All right, let's get into it now. It's time for our Coach Phil keys to the game, and we start with the visiting Baltimore Ravens, who, by the way, Phil, have scored at least 30 points in 5 straight games. Keys to the game. Let's go.
Yeah, these Ravens are rolling, and I think Lamar Jackson right now is playing at an MVP level. 70% completion, over 2,400 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, only 5 picks, 100.1 quarterback rating, and just throwing 535 yards of rushing, just sprinkling on top as well. He's better. He has more running yards than most running backs in the league. The weapons that they have at their disposal, Zay Flowers, arrow up guy for me, great change of direction, playmaker out of BC, rookie, really starting to really come into his own. Loving what they've been able to do with OBJ. They've overcome some injuries with J.K. Dobbins. They're looking to overcome the injury to Mark Andrews. Gus Edwards is a hard runner, downhill guy. been scoring almost every week. And then Keaton Mitchell is explosive, and he can run around the edge with the best of them in the league. He reminds me of a young Austin Eckler. If Lamar is getting healthier as these weeks progress into December, they're going to be a very, very tough offense to stop. The Ravens, the second thing you need to talk about with the Ravens is the Ravens defense is an absolute nightmare. All right. They're first in the league in sacks with 44. All right. They had 5 last week. Matabike and Clowney are harassing quarterbacks at a record rate. We got Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen are 2 of the best linebackers in the entire league. Then you got the secondary. Don't get me started with them. I'll miss the whole show, but we got Geno Stevens has 8 pass breakups. Kyle Hamilton has 2 picks, and he's an excellent football player. And the Chargers better be ready tonight because their season is on the line, and this is one of the best defenses in the league.
Love those keys to the game. Quick update on 2nd and 15 from the 40. The Eagles clearly playing for a field goal called a quarterback sneak or a quarterback run on 2nd and 15. He got about 3 yards. So 30 seconds to go, 3rd and 13. They're at the 37, and they need a field goal to tie. So, Kens, if you're able to do it, I need you laser focused for like 45 seconds because I'm coming to you first. You've got a best bet on the Ravens side of things first. Who do you got?
Yeah, I do. Look, and what I have with the Ravens, if I am the Ravens, I'm looking to keep this Chargers offense off the field as long as I can. And I'm looking to keep my receivers that are banged up as healthy as I can if given the opportunity. So we're going with Gus Edwards over 49.5 rushing yards tonight. Our model has him at 12.5 carries. So do odds makers. So that's really only implying just over 4 yards per carry, which I think he certainly is capable of against this Chargers defense. Again, a lot of people looking at this Chargers pass defense, which is objectively really bad. I think a lot of the public, a lot of the money is going to be on some of these inflated receiver props, but I think we can find some sneaky value on the ground here. I think this is a good comfort pillow for Lamar Jackson. Again, not having Mark Andrews, a lot of banged up receivers. So I think it's a good spot for him to keep this Chargers offense off the field and slow down that game.
I will ask all of you one very, very simple question after the last 45 seconds. Do you want to do the work? Next level kind of stuff. Ken,
and nailed it right at 45 seconds, too. I mean, you couldn't have clocked it better.
Interesting. That's how you get more playing time in this world. Thank you, Kens. All right. Now, Counselor, I'm coming over to you because when I look at this game, to me, there's clearly one side I have to play because I can't trust the other side. But which side am I talking about? I'm coming to you.
Yeah, it's the Ravens, and it's almost too clear, which really normally has me off of it, but I can't back the Chargers here. So I'm taking the Ravens -3. I just think the Chargers are so discombobulated. That was for buckets. Count the syllables there. On offense and defense. So first of all, on defense, Joey Bosa is out. So this defense is even worse than it normally is against what I think is going to end up being a really high-powered offense, not only in this game, but for the rest of the season with Lamar Jackson, with Gus Edwards, with Keaton Mitchell, and the receiving core. I know Mark Andrews is out. Isaiah Likely certainly can't replace him, but Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr., even Rashad Bateman, I think all these guys are going to get in the mix against the Chargers defense that is really, really bad. And on the other side of the ball, ever since Mike Williams left, it's been sort of a different story because Austin Eckler never got himself back to full health. So I don't really know where they go outside of Keenan Allen, who was also an injury risk. It will help that Gerald Everett is back, that Jalen Guyton is back. But at the end of the day, I think -3 is too little. I'm going to take the Ravens to cover -3. And then my other play here is a prop on somebody I just mentioned, Odell Beckham Jr. His target share is actually rivaling Zay Flowers at this point. You take Mark Andrews out of the mix, you can probably give Zay and the receiving core another 1 to 2 targets. But Odell Beckham, over his last 3 games, really averaging in that 5 to 6 range from a target standpoint. And again, against this Chargers defense, I think we're looking at 40-plus yards, and that's all we need to pass this prop.
All right, so those are 2 good ones. The Eagles find themselves in an awful position. I'm just going to tell you, it's 4th and 17. Because of 2 false starts, they backed it up 10 yards. So now they're out of field goal position. And another drop pass. So it's 4th and 17 from the 41, literally in no man's land. They're going to attempt a 59-yard field goal
in the rain.
to tie the game in the rain. 59-yard attempt. Nobody say anything. We'll sweat this one together.
Well, while we're sweating it, I was going to say, I've seen Jalen Hurts make a pressure deep bomb touchdown play before in college. But yeah, go with the field goal. Do your thing.
Hey,
They go for that. Yeah, Phil.
See his OBJ point, though. If you watch the last 2 weeks of his all-22, he looks healthier than he has. He ran an angle cut slant, and his gait, his stride length, he really looks healthy to me. And so I could see him having 3 or 4 catches for like 85 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this guy looks ready to roll. I mean, that's a legitimate play by Sia.
Legit. And I'm going to find it and play it right now as we – all right, timeout on the field. They are getting back to it. We will sweat this together. God, I love when this happens on Primetime Early Edge. I love when this happens. All right, Kens, this is for you. This is for you. All right, 59 yards. Chat, don't say anything.
Too late.
I hear my dad downstairs. I won't say what
all
he's doing.
over it.
Papa Brooks is not having it.
Oh! He hit it!
What?
He hit it!
Never a doubt. Never a doubt.
Yards!
Never a doubt.
Wow!
No one ever claimed
He
us a
hit
first half team or maybe a second half team, but we pull out wins this season.
Amazing.
Is there any position that Howie Roseman can't just nail on everything? The dude is just a baller, man.
That guy's winning.
What's the score right now?
31-31. It's 31-31. That was for the tie.
Right.
And there's only 25 seconds to go in the game. So the Bills will get it back, but they only have one timeout left. So we're probably going to go to overtime.
Yeah.
Kens, I knew there was a reason we had you on tonight. I knew there was a reason.
I got to stir the pot, you know? We got to stir the pot, get things going.
You know, Proppy's pumped up right now, too.
Oh, you know he is. Oh, I like Ken stirring the pot. Right now, Buck is like, what's this stirring the pot thing that you speak of? I'm not quite sure what that is. All right, well, we have some time, so we got to get back to the show because we're weaving. Oh, yeah. It's next level hosting from me. This is when you got to raise your game. Yeah. All right, so we got to go to the other side. How about the Chargers, who have really been struggling, Coach Phil, and you coach there. Nobody knows this team better than you. Keys to the game.
Yeah, I think we have to do more than just rely on a generationally talented quarterback like Justin Herbert. We need more people to step up around him. You know, he has great arm talent. We know that. The stat line, I could talk about it for 60 seconds. Not going to do it. He's super intelligent, great leader. You know, you rarely see somebody this good on a 4-6 football team. It's rare to happen, but it's happened right now. Need more help from the offensive line. He's under too much pressure. And overall, the Chargers just can't stay healthy. I mean, we talked, and Sia just touched on it when we're talking about Joey Bosa. So the weapons we're talking about, like a fine wine, Keenan Allen is just aging gracefully, like something up in Napa, like a Pinot Noir. 83 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, and Eckler has just not gotten going. He hasn't really been healthy. He missed like 5 weeks early in the season. You can see him get going. He takes a lot of hits, a lot of punishment. He's only getting 3.9 yards per carry. So I still feel he's very, very dangerous, but their weapons are dwindling, and not having Mike Williams is really, really catastrophic. The second thing the Chargers really need to focus on is this team is allowing 393 yards per game. They cannot afford to lose a player of Joey Bosa's caliber, and they have. They're the 31st ranked team overall in defense. They're 32nd. They're giving up 291 yards passing a week. This defense has created 15 turnovers, and they're going to need to create 3 or more tonight to win this football game.
Incredible analysis right there. I hope you grabbed your paper. I hope you grabbed your pencil, because that right there, that's how you then make your plays. It's not just about, here's your pick. Take the information and make a play. By the way, the Bills knelt down, so we are going to overtime. We're going to overtime, tied at 31 in what has turned into the game of the year. So, Kens, we were talking about earlier today on the noon show, because so many people in the chat, they love to tease these type of bets until they cash them, because at the pay window, they don't laugh at any cash tickets. So where are you heading on the Chargers side?
Yeah, not too many awesome things come up for the Chargers right now. So we are going with Dicker the kicker over 1.5 field goals made. Look, one thing about this Ravens defense, they will not let you score touchdowns, but they will let you score field goals. I think only one kicker has missed a field goal against this team the entire season. So take that for what you will. But nonetheless, Cameron Dicker, in his home stadium, indoor, no elements we're working with, no outdoor elements like the poor Eagles and Bills right now that they have to deal with. So he's made at least 2 field goals in 3 of his last 4 games. The Chargers have had a hard time finishing drives in general so far this season. I don't think this Ravens defense will make it any easier on them. So I think Dicker sees a lot of action tonight.
Do you know why I think this is a next level play? Because you know Brandon Staley, He has a TV. He has a radio. He listens to podcasts. He understands everybody is telling him stop going for it all the time.
He has all that for right now. He might not hear for now.
Well, I think he will. I think this is really, 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 really smart. By the way, Dave says this is by far the best sports show, period. And not just from a betting angle. You can keep your network TV. This is it. Oh, Dave. Clearly you haven't heard. Guess where we're going to be starting in February, big boy? That's right. 2 shows a day. One of them on network TV. CBS Sports.
And one right here, too.
TV. And one right here. We're going nowhere. I told you, think more. Think more. Now, I appreciate the fact that Kenzie also speaks in rhymes like Dr. Seuss so buckets can even understand.
Yeah, that was very helpful for him.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Right, see, we always got to think about buckets and EC, I might add. All right.
Yeah.
Lowest common denominator.
Lowest common denominator. He's very jealous of the kicker prop right now. EC is.
No child left behind. I got him. I'll be here all week. I mean,
apparently so. You had plenty of turkey. All right. You guys know this is the time
post office to vote today. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, the Bills are going to get the kick. They won the coin flip. It's now time for my favorite part of every single primetime show, where we really start to break down what the quarterbacks are all about. So once again, you can use it. Hashtag knowledge is power. Hashtag educate and entertain. AB, you're up.
The no-fly zone is here, but first off, we want to pay 2 homages to Ken's Brooks up there. First one with the rhyme.
Homages? What's an homage?
Ripping your rhyme, you rhyme and you rip. This is the way that Dylon spits. All right, number 2.
Fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2, everyone who played over 2.5 turnovers from the noon show today. Remember, I said that the weather was a little dicey and that we had sources up near the area. That source is right there, and we crashed on that one. Over 2.5, cashed it. Way to go. So Kins is already 1-0 on the show. Well done there. Nice job. Right. Which brings us to the no-fly zone. So we're going to start with our man, Lamar Jackson here. And what we want to pay attention to is this. We just broke him down not too long ago. So we were wondering, why is he having such an amazing season completion percentage-wise? Well, let's bring it back to Kins again. They hired an offensive coordinator, a guy named Todd Monken, who won 2 rings at the University of Georgia. And he essentially said, Lamar, I'm going to find your 3 spots on the grid that you don't really throw very well. Top left, top right, short right. And we're just not going to throw there. And it has absolutely worked. Our man has a 100.1 passer rating this year, 2,400 yards, 12 TDs, 5 INTs. Look at the Chargers secondary, top left here, completion percentage rankings, really not that great. But SportsLine simulations, 73% for Lamar to throw an interception. I'm not betting on it at all. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm not betting it on either quarterback. But what you want to pay attention to, red zone, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 80% of Lamar's picks have come when playing from ahead, not from behind. Now, moving over to our man, Justin Herbert. Little more difficult there in terms of the secondary. You see on the corner left, the Ravens secondary, as Coach Phil mentioned, is a nightmare to deal with. Now, only 72% SportsLine simulation percentage to throw a pick because Herbert doesn't really put it in bad spots. You've got to flush him and you have to make him really, really, really extend. And the guy is just playing well. He just doesn't do it. So again, I am not playing interceptions for either quarterback tonight because it is just so much more of a risk and there are other areas to do it. But if they do throw a pick, short left, mid, deep right, that is where he's going to get down. Red zone, 14 tutties, 1 interception. 80% of his 5 interceptions this year have come in the second half. So I'll bring it up to me real quick because actually I want Coach Phil to break it down way more than me because he knows these quarterbacks way more than I do. But I do know picks, and we've got 3 of them. First, we're going to go Ravens. Team total over 25.5. The Ravens have had massive success. 3 straight games scoring 30 points or more. And quite frankly, I think they've done it in 5 of their last 6. Second, Lamar Jackson over 8.5 rush attempts. Again, kind of on the theory that we had Patrick Mahomes earlier. You're going to get kneel downs that count as rush attempts, but the Ravens offense is all about keeping it safe, not making big mistakes. They can get you and they can get down the field and they can do it in so many different ways. Just don't make a mistake. So I think you're going to see Lamar Jackson for sure running the football tonight. Lastly, Ravens Chargers over 7.5 punts. Very low number, attractive juice price, and there are opportunities to where both of these offense can kind of just get stuck in the mud. So we've got a chance to hit all three.
I love the first play. Oh, a second, 3rd and 9 for the Bills, and they convert it again. Wow. Josh Allen is putting this team on his back. 1st and 10, 7:57 to go. All right, Coach Phil, an incredible no-fly zone. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so when we start with Lamar Jackson, just the first thing that we're talking about, when we talk about these, I don't like saying interceptions will happen in SoFi. It's probably one of the most cleanest venues. There's no wind, there's no nothing. It's pristine. So there's no elements, there's things like that. So the turnovers are going to regress just down maybe 1 across the board anyways, because you don't have to deal with any of those types of things. The one situation where Lamar can get himself into trouble is not having Mark Andrews and not having that familiarity. Likely will go in there and likely has played a different spot. So just not having that timing. Lamar Jackson's footwork can regress when he's under pressure. I have seen him make some throws that are a little ill-advised just from a mechanical fundamental standpoint. And then just talking about Asante Samuel and Derwin James, barring that they didn't get hurt during warmups, these are 2 good players that can take the football away, but you never know what's with the injury report and how that could be for the Chargers. When we switch over and we talk about Herbie, I'm concerned about Geno Stone. He's leading the NFL in picks. I mean, the best predictor of future events is past events. The guy has 6 picks. He's playing again with that hand. Is it getting better? He's always got some different apparatus on it. So that's something we need to talk about. But the most important thing for me with him is that he had so many guys questionable. Jalen Guyton was questionable. Gerald Everett was questionable. What does that mean? Well, it means you weren't practicing a whole lot this week, so you don't have that timing. So when you don't have timing on a fast track like SoFi, that can lead to some errant throws because the receivers aren't where they're supposed to be, and those balls could end up right in the Ravens' chests.
So maybe take a look at attempts, maybe take a look at completions. If they're not on the same page, maybe not play the yards. That's why we do the no-fly zone. So, Kens, let me come to you because Lamar Jackson, his rushing number right now is currently sitting at 44.5, little juicy amount around minus 130. But based off the no-fly zone, does Lamar get it on the ground tonight?
Yeah, I do. I think he will. I think he's going to feel really comfortable in this situation. I know AB said the same thing here. Again, no Joey Bosa. Your receivers are hurt. You don't have Mark Andrews. I think a lot of the production he knows he can do himself. He'll put himself in that pressure situation. He has, a long week played. He had 10 days off. Then they go into a bye week. So I don't think he's going to be afraid to use his legs here tonight at all.
I don't think so either. But who's he going to throw it to? Castle, let me come to you real quick because normally we talk about Zay Flowers. You're playing OBJ, but Zay Flowers, his numbers are much, much bigger than OBJ. In fact, his yardage is 63.5. I know you're playing one side. Do you like the other?
I think that's a touch high to bet. I mean, I think Zay Flowers could absolutely get there, but part of the reason I took Odell Beckham, and I'm not necessarily comparing the two, although I do think they're comparable. I don't think Odell is so washed up at the point that you can't really compare the two. If you look at the last few games, forget about the targets themselves. Let's look at the actual target share. They mirror each other. So why not take the guy that's a 39.5 over under or a 39.5 total versus a 63.5? So that's sort of how I saw that. It's not that I don't like the Zay Flowers number. I would lean probably to the under, but that's why I was so attracted to the Odell number. And by the way, I don't think we can just dismiss. I know this is just a little ride down narrative street, but I don't think we can dismiss that this is a singular game and that it's very possible that Odell maybe is in Lamar's ear a little bit, and maybe for that reason, he gets a couple extra looks early. And maybe what I'm saying right now is a tease to the end of the show. Maybe.
Yeah, there's no maybe about it. He's in his ear.
That was so good.
Do you know there's one scenario that I can see tonight that I would absolutely love with Ken's here tonight. And by the way, Ken's is going to be here moving forward. She just doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be here moving forward. Oh, and Phil, I'll get to that in a second. So, AB, let me come back over to you because when you're talking about quarterbacks, we love to bet on them. But buckets. I know that AB didn't pick an INT, but it doesn't mean that you can't. Let the good people in the chat know whether it is Jay Herbert or L. Jackson is going to throw an interception, and I promise you, we'll all tell you. We will. Go ahead and put it in their buckets. But, AB, let me come to you, because when you look at all these different numbers, based off of what Phil just said, man, I got 28.5 attempts, 30.5 for the other side. And anything that we can lean into, you're my quarterback whisperer.
Justin Herbert attempts, I think, is a great play. Justin Herbert completions could be a great play. I don't even hate the yardage, to be honest with you, right? Like, and it's not like I don't love Lamar's side of it as well, but Lamar can use his legs and will, and he'll use Gus Edwards over and over and over. And there are just so many different ways that the Ravens can get down, and not to mention that the Chargers can use Eckler, running back, short passing game as a de facto run game. So, yeah, I would look, honestly, J.A. Bear for buckets there. Attempts. I think that's the way to go.
Oh, I apologize. Oh, Josh Allen. He had a wide open Gabe Davis in the end zone and misses him.
Ooh.
So the Bills are forced to try a field goal, which obviously with the new rules, the Eagles will get a chance with the football. So best case scenario, after a roughing the passer penalty, after another penalty, this was best case scenario. So the Bills are going to attempt a field goal here shortly. Before they do that, let me come back to you, because you said, you're kind of the Ravens side. I think we all believe that it's the Ravens game to lose. They're tied currently with the other three division leaders with 3 losses. They can't afford to lose tonight if they want to still think about that number 1 seed. So when I look at the ground, when I look at all the different numbers, I think Lamar Jackson loves to throw it deep. Longest receptions, we've cashed with him a lot because that's what he does. If you were to combo up Lamar Jackson and a receiver to go over their number, give me that name and I'll give you that number.
I think I still like Zay Flowers here. Again, I think with Mark Andrews and the security blanket he is, I think Zay Flowers is that second guy to go to for Lamar right now.
All right, 23.5 is his longest reception if you so choose to play that. By the way, Gabe Davis is furious right now. And Stephon Diggs is talking him off the ledge. That's interesting. That never happens. So they did make the field goal. It's 34-31, 5:52 to go in overtime. And the Eagles have to get at least a field goal or a touchdown to win for this game to continue. This is as good of a sweat as we've had in a really, really long time.
Yeah.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
It's the whole thing.
The whole show.
Yeah, this has been an emotional roller coaster. And now I'm just like, I'm waiting to hear my parents downstairs screaming. I'm waiting for you to tell me what's going on. I'm trying to.
I was going to say,
on Gus Edwards.
Like, we got to give Ken's credit here, because like she just came on the show, is crushing it, and also kind of has massive implications like going on overtime right now and not sweating it. She's no selling it like a G. Well,
the one thing that we do here that every other sports brand, and it's what I hated the most when I was at ESPN, is they're like, you got to leave your fandom at the door. You got to be a pro. You're on national team.
Sure.
What? I'm here because I'm a fan. I love this because I'm a fan. I would never tell Kenzie not to root in the middle of a show.
What, Coach? I got into sports because I hate sports.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I'm just going to hide it.
Listen, growing up in Philly, everyone's like, how do you become a 22-year-old sports bettor? I'm like, well, I grew up in Philadelphia, and there's really no other choice than to be obsessed with every single professional sport that's out there. And then when you go to Georgia, you go to SEC football. It's a whole different door too. So
yes, it is.
Yeah, and you know what stinks, Phil, is that there's a lot of people out there, because we're at the national level. We're at the absolute highest level, and they are ticked off because that 22-year right there is so much better than they are. And it's fact, and you know who I'm talking to, and there's nothing you can say about it. And she's on our team. There's nothing you can say. It's fact. All right. So it is the top of the hour. It is 8 o'clock in the East. The Eagles are 2nd and 2 at their own 36-yard line, our own 34-yard line. 5 minutes to play. We'll keep our eye on that. So before we get to the fun part of the show, because I know it's been a lot of fun, is there anything else we need to hit on? Is there another player that we need to hit on? Because I feel like we're feeding into the Ravens, not so much with the Chargers, so we really don't know what's going on. Here's our best bets up there. Phil, go.
One thing, just watch live, right? When Lamar Jackson takes off for the first time, if he slides or he just crumbles down, that means he's not fully healthy yet. So those rushing totals I'd be leery of. If he runs, spins, jukes, he breaks a tackle and then ends up falling forward, just really monitor his rushing, because he's been limping for 2 weeks, and sometimes you get better and sometimes you regress. So you just have to, I think that's something to watch. See, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. And I mean, that certainly has live betting implications there too. Just like game scripts have live betting implications. And I will say this, especially if the Ravens get up maybe somewhat big 1-2 scores early. And honestly, even if they don't, I would actually look at Jalen Guyton props specifically. And the reason I say that, and I know what Coach Phil said about, timing being off, guys not practicing, but let's be honest about the wide receiver 2 situation for the Chargers. They don't have one. Quentin Johnson is just, I'm not trying to be disparaging. He's not that guy yet. It's very clear. So I think really they probably rushed Jalen Guyton back and made sure he was healthy because they need him to step up if this passing game is going to simulate what we saw from the Chargers when Justin Herbert was at his prime. So he only has a 27.5 receiving yards prop. I like him over there quite a bit.
He can fly too, and he had a lot of reps with him, and he did look good last week compared to having an ACL. So I would agree with that.
All right, Ken's little update. Eagles 18-yard pass play inside Bills territory. 1st and 10, under 4 minutes to play. It doesn't get any better than this right here. By the way, anybody want to take – they're all asking about Keaton Mitchell because we've done a really good job targeting the second guy. What do we make of Keaton Mitchell tonight? Anybody can take it. Go ahead.
I think Phil's going to hit on that pretty soon.
I like him. Go see it. Take it, baby boy.
Well, so listen, he's very explosive, and I think we're going to start to see him and Gus Edwards' rushing attempts share kind of start to get closer and closer. Last game, I believe he had 9 touches, which is actually kind of a lot, especially relative to Gus Edwards, who had the lion's share. But I will say this, his rushing attempts prop, I looked at it, is 7.5, but it's juiced to the over. Gus Edwards' rushing attempts prop is 11.5, but it's juiced to the under. What that tells me is we're looking at 11. The market thinks we're looking at 8 rushes for Keaton Mitchell, 11 for Gus Edwards. So that, look, my point is we're getting closer and closer to seeing a little bit more of Keaton Mitchell. So I like his rushing attempt prop over, and I like the 38.5 rushing yards that I think his prop is.
Yes.
You agree with that, Phil?
Yeah, because I think Keaton Mitchell's one of the more explosive young backs in the NFL, and I think the Chargers have this year on film. I'm not trying to be negative. They have not been a good tackling team. You put a very fast player on the fastest track in the league, and you're not tackling well in the secondary, you can get out for 34 easy.
Okay. Well, right now that number is 41.5 when it comes to Keaton Mitchell. Combo number is around 53.5. Oh, we've got some drama. A.J. Brown looked like he caught it, then he fumbled it. Bills recover, but now they're calling it an incomplete pass. So they're reviewing it right now. Well, if they call it a catch, game's over. But I don't think he – oh, nope, they've already – all right, so 3rd and 4 from the 40, timeout for the Buffalo Bills. So we've got just enough time to do our fun part of the show. Everybody's good, right? All right.
Yeah.
So it's about 3 minutes past the hour. You already saw our best bets. We don't reward those of you coming at the top of the hour anymore. We just give them to you, but we don't reward you. You got to come up at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So, Kenz, I know this will be your first time playing for a chance to get into the club, and you're really the only one that is of the age where they don't even question you when you walk into the club. The rest of us, 4 old dudes, they're like, what are you even doing here? Well, I predicted the first touchdown of the game. Isn't that why everybody's here? So, our resident superstar is Sia Najad, and just ask him. He will tell you. So he has, count them. How many gems do you have next to your name now?
I've actually lost count. The number's so high. I'm sorry. I can't help you.
My software program doesn't even allow it. Adobe is cut us off of gems. Like we're out of time.
Just like you cut that turkey leg off to put next to your name.
Yeah, we got a turkey leg though, Phil. What about that?
All right, so here are our picks. Sia Najad, what a show off! Just doesn't even fit all of them on the screen.
You could at least give me a turkey leg, man. That's bad.
First down, Philadelphia. First down, Philadelphia inside the 25-yard line. 3 minutes to go. Kenz, I don't even know how you're going to do this. All right, Sia Najad. Explain yourself.
Yeah, I'll keep this short and sweet. Coach Phil really confirmed what we're probably going to get from Odell Beckham pregame, and that's, hey, Lamar, I don't have many national television games left. Take a look at me early in the game. I think Odell Beckham is just as live as Zay Flowers. With all this context in mind, to get the first touchdown, give me Odell Beckham at plus 1,800.
All right. For you, this is actually chalky. For you.
Yeah.
Just for you.
I usually don't fall below plus 1,800 like everybody else.
Oh, Swift, 15, 10. Gets knocked out at the 10.
Stop doing that.
All right,
oh, my goodness.
10 First and 10 Eagles at the 10 of the Bills, approaching the 2-minute warning.
I wish I had my Apple Watch on so I could read my heart rate right now.
Yeah, it's gonna get higher.
AB, would you have any issues with letting Ken's go next so she can fully concentrate? Would that be okay with you? All right. Ken's, who are you picking tonight?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Zay Flowers. I think we see a
Yeah, I think we all know what happened.
It is over! It is over! Jalen Hurts
a tush push.
to the house, and the Eagles. By the way, the Bills will now fall. How about this, guys and ladies? To the 11th spot in the race for a wild card spot. The 11th spot, because they couldn't hold a 10-point lead, just like the Chiefs did last Monday night. This one stings. This one hurts. Didn't mean to interrupt your flow, but you kind of interrupted your own flow.
Yeah. Here you go.
There you go, AB. Thank you. Please continue, Kent.
Thank you. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, so I think overall we're going to see a bump in targets for the wideouts without Mark Andrews here. I think, like I said earlier, I think he's the next security blanket after Mark Andrews. A good way to get comfortable early for this team. Again, big mismatch here with the Chargers pass defense, whether it's Davis, whether it's Taylor lining up with him. I think this is going to be a great comfortable spot early for Lamar here.
By the way, was that your dad you were looking at to come up and tell you they had won the game?
Well, I just heard all this screaming downstairs, so I was like looking out the door as if that was going to help me.
Oh, all right. If he comes in, I want to get him on camera. I would love to see. I would love to see Dad. All right, AB. Let me come back to you. You got 3 gyms and that stupid turkey leg. You're up next.
Yeah, it was nice to hit this first TD score on Thanksgiving. Get that turkey leg. I wanted it on Black Friday because we were giving away a little TV emoji. I wanted that one too to the collection. But here's a question for everybody out here. What do you call the man or woman who takes the easiest path to success? You call that person smart. And we're going to go with Lamar Jackson plus 1,000. I'm not going to overthink this one. I like Lamar Jackson. He tends to run in touchdowns. Let me get my man here and get a 4th gym. And the turkey leg is like worth what? 25% of a gym. So like we wouldn't catch C.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's botulism. It creates botulism. It's probably spoiled by now.
Yeah. You got to give me a second. I got to grab my cocoa butter because you're very chalky today, AB. And
my lotion game is right though. I mean, we keep that Nivea game strong. So
there you go, chalk, man.
It's right there.
My daughter's chalk. Anytime I see these plus 1,000, and usually it's me.
I love your daughter so much. All right, I'll make mine quick. You talk about smart. Can anybody tell me who had 1 catch last week for 10 yards and a tutty?
Rashad Bateman.
You're damn right, Rashad Bateman. So I'm going to go plus 1,500 tonight because I believe he'll have 1 more catch. I believe it'll be for 10 yards, and I believe it'll be for that tutty. That's going to be on a T-shirt eventually. I love tutty. All right, Phil.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm telling you right now.
Yes.
If Ken gets in before you, I'm saying it. I will be relentless.
I think the chat already was relentless. He was getting clowned earlier.
Yeah. It's what happens. I don't think you understand quite what you're walking into at this moment when it comes to my ineptitude with these picks. It's almost become comedy at this point. Like, when you said Bateman, I thought you were talking about Jason Bateman because my picks are dead at the bottom of Lake Ozark, right?
Nice.
I mean, they're awful. This is as bad as it gets. I mean, Keaton Mitchell, let's talk about him for a second. Mitchell, family name, everybody. I got a family full of Mitchell, so I'm just hoping. I'm grasping at straws here, guys. I'm not trying to find anything that's going to happen. I've taken chalk. I've taken long odds. I took funny names like Keaton Mitchell because Mitchell is our family's last name, and it hasn't worked out at all. But Keaton Mitchell is the fastest player on the field tonight. He's going against the poor tackling Chargers team, and we're hoping that he gets in there before Zay Flowers does, because if not, it'd be pretty brutal. I don't know if I'll sleep, honestly. But Ken seems like a cool person, so whatever. It is what it is.
No, she is, and she's a much better trash talker than EC or Buckets, so she will lay into you, and it won't even be pretty. Yeah, much better.
Yeah, I won't talk back to her.
I can take it.
Wag just said best Sunday of the year. Hell, best week of the year since Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
3 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. You guys know what time it is. We got to get ready for the game tonight. You've already seen our best bets. If you didn't see them, you should have got here a little bit sooner. But as Rebecca says, congrats to Ken's and the fam. So, Ken's, we're going to start with you. I want to know what's the number one most important thing that you're looking for tonight. People can use it for tonight or into the future. In your mind, what is it?
Wow, just in this game in general. I mean, look, we have a coach, basically his career right now with the Chargers on the line. So I'm curious to see if he puts all of that, tries to bring out all the tricks he can to improve this pass D. If he does that, is it just going to, whack-a-mole, and then the rush D is terrible too. So we'll see if he's able to put it all together, because I'm curious to see under this kind of pressure, how he holds up as a coach and what he does, what tricks he pulls out to see if he can get this done.
There's no question it affects the play calling. It affects everything you do. Phil, you know it better than anybody. You've been through this. You've been through. So let me come to you based off what she just said. What about you?
I'm going to build on what Ken said. Watch for the tackling, all right? Because when you have some disinterested, 4-win ball club or things sometimes there's noise. I always look to see who's tackling, who's giving effort on the backside and run plays, who's breaking tackles and giving extra effort. Watch for that. Watch for that early and watch for that often. That'll be the most imperative thing tonight is tackling. Love it.
Counselor, talk to me.
I think we know who the best team in the NFC is. Just even in the last few minutes, I think that's confirmed that it's the San Francisco 49ers. But the AFC, I think, is still an open question. And I think the Ravens really have their hat in the ring there. But if you're going to be the best team in the AFC, you've got to go to Los Angeles at SoFi, where you'll probably have a lot of your own fans, and dominate. And if they can't do that, then they can't be considered the number one team in the AFC. And this is a huge game for the Chargers, but just as big for people who play for the Ravens or coach the Ravens. And the reason is because you need home field advantage if you're the Baltimore Ravens, and you can go on your way to securing that tonight.
100%. Don't think the players and coaches don't know when they're in prime time, don't know when it's a holiday weekend, don't know. Just look at our show. Biggest shows we've ever had this week. Why? It's a holiday. People are home. They're sitting. They're watching. AB, bring us home.
Todd Monken with Kirby Smart had one plan: score first. Todd Monken with John Harbaugh has one plan and have done it: score first. Jim Harbaugh, John's brother with Michigan, do the same thing: score first. Look for the Ravens to do the same thing that they've been doing over and over and over, is to score a touchdown in the first quarter, and in the first quarter, 7-0. The Ravens do it. Georgia does it. Michigan does it. It's what the Eagles do it. It's what great teams do. They score first. And when the Ravens put you in a tough spot playing from behind, that's when all hell tends to break loose. So watch who scores the touchdown first tonight.
So what you're saying is play the Ravens on the money line at -135 is what you're saying. Yes?
The Ravens, not only first, the Ravens have held a lead with 2 minutes left to go in the game in every game this season. They haven't won them all, but they've had a lead. This team plays with a lead constantly. It's what good teams do.
So many Chick-fil-A nuggets on a Sunday, AB. Next level.
Always open.
Next level. Always open here at the early edge. All right. Rebecca just said sprinkle on Ravens first drive touchdown. Just a little sprinkle. Nothing crazy, but I like it, Rebecca. I like where your head's at. What a good show. What a fun show. Isn't it great having Kenzie on board, primetime early edge, sweating her favorite team on her very first show? That's what we do. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow night. Monday Night Football, the Bears and the Vikings. Do not sleep on that game. Very, very important for the Vikings. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, we'll be live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, as we are on every single weekday. Or most. So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Sunday Night Football tickets straight to the pay window. Brian Tyker, level. Counselor, my 5-tool player, AB. Ken's, my man, Coach Phil. I am the coach just trying to keep this train on said track. Damn it, do I love doing this so much. And hopefully you do too, because we can't do it without you. We can't do it without you. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about, even in prime time on the early edge. Good luck.